evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, in an emotional interview, two of the Duggar sisters defended their brother and parents in handling allegations of sexual abuse inside their home. After the story surfaced, the family's reality show, 19 Kids and Counting, was quickly pulled from the air. And now the fallout continues with strong reaction to the latest Duggar family defense.
I was 12.
12, and how about you?
I guess I was 9 or 10.
Tonight, the Duggar daughters finally speaking out.
He was a boy, young boy in puberty, and a little too curious about girls. And that got him into some trouble.
24-year-old Jill Dillard and 22-year-old Jessa Sewall defending their brother Josh, who sexually molested them when they were children.
I do want to speak up in his defense against people who are calling him a child molester or a pedophile or a rapist, some people are saying. And I'm like, that is so overboard and a lie, really.
The now married sister sitting down with Fox News' Megyn Kelly about their oldest brother Josh Duggar, now 27, who allegedly had inappropriate sexual contact with as many as 5 underage girls, including 4 of his sisters, when he was 14 and 15.
We've never claimed to be a perfect family. My parents have always actually stated, we are not a perfect family. We are just a family.
Earlier this week, the parents, Jim, Bob, and Michelle, seemed to downplay the abuse, saying that their daughters were either asleep or didn't understand that they were being molested.
It wasn't to them. They didn't probably even understand that it was improper touch.
The reaction to the parents speaking out this week has been mostly negative. Some headlines ripping their Fox interview as horrifying, disgusting, and an unholy disaster.
It wasn't the story of Josh's mistake. It was the story of a whole family's mishandling of a very sensitive situation.
Cheryl Underwood gave an emotional and personal reaction to the interview on the CBS show The Talk.
I'm probably the only person at this table that went through that. And I went through that 3, 4, 5 years old. You know something is wrong. When the people you're supposed to trust to protect you seem to be the co-conspirator in your violation.
And on social media, many criticizing the sisters for defending their brother. Even Sarah Palin getting into the fray, accusing the media of being critical of the conservative Duggar family, while she says they gave Lena Dunham a pass last year when she wrote in a memoir that she'd experimented with her younger sister.
It was burned in our memory. Josh made some very bad decisions, and he's going to suffer the consequences of
the disturbing details tonight.
We're the Duggars.
A sharp contrast to the family's squeaky clean image. For years, the Duggars have been portrayed on their TLC show, 19 Kids and Counting, as a conservative Christian family who played and prayed together, frowning on front-hugging for fear it might cause impure thoughts.
The ray of hope was that Josh had came and told us, and that his heart was still soft.
It's the latest in a scandal that broke 2 weeks ago when In Touch magazine released the first of 2 police reports, which said Josh was investigated but never charged for multiple sex offenses. The family says they are victims because the sealed police reports were improperly leaked.
It's been an unprecedented attack on our family.
Tonight, Jill Duggar Dillard breaking down as she speaks of that moment.
I couldn't believe what was going on. Whenever I heard the police report had been released, they can't do this to us.
By rehashing this, we've reopened this wound for these girls. I just wish we would just leave them alone.
Erin Marin, a child abuse activist, says Jill and Jessa are being victimized all over again in the public eye, even if questions remain about some of their parents' actions.
What the Duggars did wrong here was not go to the police immediately. The very first thing they should have done when Josh disclosed this was get on the phone with the authorities. They should have sat down and said, Josh, we appreciate you confessing your sins, but you committed a crime and we need to make a police report.
The Duggars waited more than a year before reporting it to authorities.
What makes a case like this complicated is that you're talking about a child allegedly molesting other children. Those cases always get really difficult. If the authorities had investigated this earlier, the parents could have been charged as well.
The statute of limitations had expired. No charges were ever filed.
They could have been charged for failing to report this in a timely fashion. And that's a felony in the state of Arkansas, and they could have faced the possibility of up to 6 years behind bars.
Child abuse activist Erin Marin says she was invited by Jim, Bob, and Michelle to their home just last year to talk to their young children about improper touching. But neither Josh, Jill, or Jessa was there, and the dark family secret never came up.
I had no idea that this had happened in their home. Looking back on it, I think they brought me into their homes to help me get across the message to the rest of their kids. If this ever happens to you, you come and tell mom and dad. You don't keep it a secret.
Josh Duggar himself did not sit down for the interview and only released this statement last week on Twitter and Facebook. I acted inexcusably, for which I am extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends.
The siblings don't even really consider it abuse. They don't really know what's going on. They don't know how to make sense out of it. So it brings up a lot of really confusing issues. And for the parents, it's hard to know how to parent.
But Dr. Robi Ludwig says the Duggar family environment may have played a role.
If you live in an environment where you're an adolescent and you are somehow taught or led to believe that your sexual impulses are bad or animalistic, what do you do with those impulses? He was 14. He probably had a lot of sexual curiosity impulses. What happened is not okay under any circumstances, but I think there are reasons we need to understand.
While Jill and Jessa might defend their brother now, at the time the family put safeguards in place to keep the girls separate from their brother.
Locks on the doors, everybody's in bed. Girls in the girls' room, boys in the boys' room.
But with the family secret no longer locked away, perhaps finally a time for healing.
We've already forgiven Josh. We've already moved on.